Between heaven and earth there's a place called Cloudland where people stay until they're forgotten before going to heaven. Mommy Penguin peeped down on Earth every day, crying, until 1 year later, she secretly hopped on the raindrop train and returned to Earth to visit her son. They hugged and played together, but when the rainy season was over, she had to catch the last raindrop or she wouldn't go back to Cloudland. Mother Penguin said goodbye to her son and went back, but now she wouldn't cry anymore while watching the little penguin's life on Earth. This story is being read by Young Ji-ho from a book his now deceased mother, Im Soo-ah, made for him. He's hiding from her funeral, but he still overhears some relatives say that it was the pregnancy that made her weak. Ji-ho looks at his mother's picture and tells her he'll see her again. A year later, Young Woo-jin is trying his best at being a single dad, although the house is a mess and he isn't exactly a great cook. He wakes up early to go to the pool he works at and clean the entire place before returning home to make breakfast and help his kid get ready for school, finding him sleeping inside his mom's wardrobe. Every morning Woo-jin also takes his medicine, and Ji-ho watches the forecast, eagerly waiting for the rainy season to begin. Woo-jin takes Ji-ho to school on his bicycle, although he can't ride too fast. Then he goes to work, where his coworker always keeps an eye on him and brings him coffee, which makes their boss swimming instructor Choi jealous. After school is over, Ji-ho goes to stay at the bakery belonging to Hong-gu, Woo-jin's best friend who is like an uncle to him. Today, Ji-ho arrives in a bad mood because his dad can't run and the school has a special event coming where students must team up with their dads for a relay race. Hong-gu solves this quickly by telling him he'll be the one racing instead, which Woo-jin thanks him for when he comes by to pick up Ji-ho after he's done with work. The day of the race, when Woo-jin is about to leave the pool, Choi stops him and asks him to change some light bulbs. Meanwhile, at school, Ji-ho is told he can't race because Hong-gu isn't his father, but when Ji-ho is about to return their t-shirts, Woo-jin shows up and tells him he'll race with him, thinking he'll be fine if he just jogs. Ji-ho does well in his half of the race, but when he passes the baton to his dad, he looks sad because he knows they won't win, so Woo-jin runs seriously instead of jogging. He is actually doing well too, but only at first. When he's about to reach the finish line, he passes out. Later, after he starts feeling better and the two of them go home, Ji-ho makes Woo-jin promise that he'll never leave him. He also wants to hang some blankets outside because according to Hong-gu, that will make it rain. The next morning, they wake up to discover it is raining, so Ji-ho rushes out to the train station. Woo-jin follows him there, but of course there's nobody to be found, so he picks up Ji-ho and tries to take him home regardless of his protests. When they're about to cross the tunnel, however, they see a silhouette in the shadows. Woo-jin wants to be cautious, but Ji-ho isn't afraid and runs toward the person, who indeed turns out to be Soo-ah. Ji-ho is happy to see her, but Woo-jin is scared, thinking she may be a ghost. In reality, she's indeed here, but she's suffering from amnesia and doesn't remember them. They take her back home, where Ji-ho shows her a picture of the family to prove her identity and a welcome drawing he made for her. This makes Woo-jin nervous, so he takes Ji-ho to the bathroom for a second so they can talk in private. He thinks they shouldn't tell Soo-ah that she had been dead because it could be too traumatic. It shouldn't be difficult to lie since they haven't thrown away any of her things. But when they come out, Soo-ah starts making lots of questions. She doesn't understand why she's being welcome if she lives here and how she could have let the house become so dirty and messy. Woo-jin and Ji-ho come up with a lie on the spot. They tell her she had been in the hospital for a while, and she was released yesterday. Today they went out for a walk, and while playing hide and seek, she got hit by a rock, which caused her to pass out in the tunnel and lose her memory. The following morning, breakfast goes easier thanks to Soo-ah being there to help. Woo-jin drops Ji-ho at school, but as soon as he leaves, Ji-ho runs back to his house so he can spend the day with his mother. Soo-ah is going through her things and finds a key together with her wedding ring, and hides it all when Ji-ho shows up, telling her his teacher was absent. The two of them spend the day playing a variety of games, and Ji-ho is surprised to see his mom's strength. She's much healthier now. At dinner, Ji-ho refuses to eat because he wants his mom's cooking, not his dad's. Woo-jin thinks she should rest, but Soo-ah decides to try anyway. Sadly, she's very out of practice and she can't get the sauce right. When food she's frying in very hot oil starts popping off the pan, Woo-jin puts himself between her and the stove so he gets burned instead. After putting Ji-ho to bed, Soo-ah takes a shower, and Woo-jin uses the chance to take his medicine without her knowing. Afterward, Soo-ah offers to put some cream on the burn marks on Woo-jin's back and asks him to tell her the story of their relationship while doing so. The two of them met in high school, sharing a class. Soo-ah was the top student, but Woo-jin was more concentrated on the swimming club, so he spent most of his classes sleeping. One day, during swimming class, he finally got to meet her properly when he saved her from drowning, and he developed a crush on her that day. Hong-gu could tell his friend liked Soo-ah, so he gave Woo-jin some tips on how to get the girl. He tried to start a conversation by asking her for a pen, but she cut him short before he could even finish his sentence. Later, during dancing class, their teacher noticed Woo-jin was a bad dancer, so he paired him up with Soo-ah, who was also pretty bad. Woo-jin was so distracted by their closeness that he accidentally stepped on her foot, and when he bent over to clean it, he ended up headbutting her nose. Suah ended up bleeding and leaving the gym in a bad mood. They didn't talk again until the last day of school, when Suah asked Hong-gu to sign her yearbook, and since Woojin was there with him, she told him he can sign as well if he wanted. Woojin did sign, and when Suah took her yearbook back, she accidentally took his pen with her, which Woojin shows her in the present. Afterward, Woojin went to a nearby college for swimming, and Suah moved to Seoul to assist university there. Woojin tried to call her during their first summer break, but every time she picked up the phone, he would get too nervous and hung up. After that, he was called by the army, so for another 2 years he couldn't contact her. When he came back, he tried calling her again, and this time, Hong-gu made it impossible for him to hang up. Instead of asking her properly on a date though, Woojin told her he needed to have his pen back, so they agreed to meet in front of their old school. When they finally saw each other again, they behaved very awkwardly around each other, and Suah gave Woojin the pen before taking off. Seeing her leave was the final incentive Woojin needed to ask her out, and they ended up going for dinner. Their conversation was very awkward there too, but eventually they find a topic in common and in the evening continued smoothly. Afterward, they waited for their buses together, but neither of them wanted to leave yet, so they waited in each other's company until the last one passed by and Suah had no other choice but to leave, reminding Woojin that she wouldn't be back until winter break. After a moment, however, Woojin ran after her bus, got inside and asked her if he could write her letters while she was back in Seoul, which she accepted. Back in the present, it's getting late, so they go to bed and Woojin promises to finish the story another day. The next morning, at school, Jiho hears a classmate say it rains every time his dad washes the car. Meanwhile, Suah decides to explore the shack she finds in the garden. After opening it with the key she had found when she arrived, she enters the shack and finds out this is the place where she would make all her crafts. After work, Woojin goes to see Hong-gu, who has called him over saying it was urgent. When he arrives there, he notices he is trying to set him up on a blind date. Woojin tries to sneak away, but Hong-gu catches him and guesses he's already seeing someone, even going as far as saying Woojin shouldn't make up a bad excuse as saying Suah is back. This is too accurate and scary, so Woojin runs away. Later that night, Hong-gu suddenly shows up dressed as a penguin to surprise Jiho, so Woojin tries to kick him out before Suah sees him. But Hong-gu sneaks inside by using another door and ends up seeing Suah. Thinking she's a ghost, he runs away as he promises he'll never set up Woojin on blind dates again. Afterward, Suah asks Woojin for the rest of the story behind their relationship. Woojin did write to her, and the next time they saw each other, they went to the movies. He tried to hold her hand but grabbed a guy's foot by mistake, so later when they were waiting for the bus, Suah got a little daring and put her hand in Woojin's jacket pocket. Woojin quickly followed suit and held her hand inside his pocket. Back in the present, the couple repeats the same act while Jiho talks in his sleep. Sometime later, Woojin takes Suah to the top of a hill, where they have a picnic, listen to the radio and watch a movie from a nearby drive-in theater by using a pair of binoculars they take their turn with. She gets so engrossed with the movie that Woojin takes the chance to surprise her with his lips on hers, and the couple finally kisses in the rain. Days pass and Suah gets used to her routine. She plays with Jiho, keeps the house clean, and cooks for her family. She finds the penguin book as well, but she doesn't think much of it, and when he sees Jiho collecting 4-leaf clovers to wish for more rain, she adds some of her own without telling him, but he and Woojin do notice. One day, the family goes out for an afternoon of fun at the river, and Woojin carries them both when they return home. He manages to arrive at the house, but as soon as he steps in, he passes out. He wakes up moments later on his bed with Suah next to him, demanding an explanation. Woojin decides to tell her by going back to their story. It all started after their third date, during which Suah gifted him a clover charm to wish him good luck on the national tryouts. He trained extra hard not to disappoint her, but one day during practice, he passed out in the middle of the pool. The doctor said there was a problem in his brain that controlled hormones, so if he got nervous or strained himself, he kept fainting. He had to quit the swimming team and lost all hope of having a normal life, so he broke up with Suah without telling her about his illness. A year passed and he still couldn't get over her, so he traveled to Seoul to see her one last time. But when he arrived at her university, he saw her getting in a car with another man, so he left without talking to her after dropping the clover charm to the ground. He didn't try to contact her again after that, but months later, he received a phone call, and he couldn't take it anymore. He went to the train station and received Suah with a hug, listening to her say they were meant to be. Shortly afterward, he proposed to her, and she accepted while ignoring her family's disapproval of her dropping her studies to become a housewife. After the story is finally over, the couple falls asleep while cuddling. The next day, Jiho tells his parents that he'll be singing with the choir for the school concert and invites Suah to come. At school, Jiho practices the song with his class, where they have to share their dreams for the future. Since he's the fastest runner in his class, his dream is to be a professional that wins the Olympics. Meanwhile, Suah finds her old diary and learns the truth of what happened to her, but she doesn't tell the family. Instead, she starts teaching Jiho how to do chores, wash himself and even cook some basics. That way he can help his dad around the house. Woojin has also plans of his own. He and Honggu have been covering the train tunnel with wood, hoping that will prevent her from returning to Cloudland. Rainy season is about to end, so everyone's mood isn't the best. One day while at work, Woojin gets a call from the mother of one of Jiho's classmates. It turns out she caught Jiho washing her car, but Jiho refuses to say anything about it. Woojin apologizes for his son, getting worried when the mother says he needs therapy because obviously not having his mother is giving him emotional issues. On their way home, Jiho finally confesses he washed the car because his classmate said this would make it rain and his mother would stay longer. The next day, Woojin is devastated to find the wind has moved all the wood away from the tunnel. Meanwhile, Suwa goes to see Honggu to ask him for a favor that will take a long time. She returns home some hours later with a cake, and the whole family celebrates Jiho's birthday together. Later, while watching the rain with her husband, Suwa mentions she hopes Jiho grows to be as handsome as his dad before kissing and hugging Woojin while crying. The day of the concert finally comes, but Woojin is once again stuck at work. This time, Troy gets hurt by a falling lamp, and Woojin jumps in the water to save him, thinking it may have been his fault because he fixed it in a hurry last time. The concert begins and Jiho refuses to sing because his parents aren't there, and when his turn comes to say his dream like the other kids did, he stays silent. At that moment, Suwa finally enters the theater, having given up on waiting for Woojin. When Jiho sees her, he finally begins talking, mentioning he's a good runner, but also going through all the housekeeping things his mom has taught him, ending his dream by saying he'll become a good caretaker for his dad. After the concert is over, the sun comes out, and Suwa realizes she must hurry before the last raindrop disappears. She starts making her way to the station as Jiho also sees the sun at school and Woojin sees it when he wakes up in an ambulance, so both of them run towards the station as well. Jiho gets there first and hugs Suwa, asking her not to leave him and apologizing for being the reason she died, since her relatives blamed the pregnancy. Crying, Suwa tells him it isn't his fault and she wouldn't have been happier if she had lived a longer life without him. In the meantime, Woojin is having trouble making his way to the station. First, he loses his bicycle because a truck pushes him off the street, so instead, he has to run. But soon he starts feeling sick and falls to the ground, remembering a full conversation they had the evening they watched the rain together. He had apologized for not making her happy, but Suwa said he did, and that she wanted him to keep on living for the sake of Jiho. Finding strength in this memory, Woojin stands up and goes back to running, making it to the station just in time to see Suwa disappear in the tunnel with a clover in her hand. Life becomes easier for them now that Jiho is helping around the house. The lesser stress even allows Woojin to ride his bike faster and be a swimming instructor at the pool. One evening, after taking his medicine, he finds at the bottom of the bag a key and a note from Suwa telling him to go to the shack and read her diary. This is how he discovers her version of the story, which is quite different from her perspective. Suwa had already seen Woojin on the street before they met at school, and she already developed a crush on him right then. She was too nervous to talk to him though, especially after she embarrassed herself when he saw her drown. This anxiety was what caused her to be cold to him when he asked for the pen and what made her flee the dancing class, even if she danced badly on purpose to be paired up with him. Asking Honggu first to sign her yearbook had also been a strategy to get to talk to Woojin. She kept the pen as a memory of him and tried to call him many times while in college, but she never was brave enough. In the end, Woojin called her first, and during their first date, anxiety got bad again when she thought he only wanted the pen, but thankfully Woojin took initiative again. Then the breakup happened, but she could never forget him. That day at university, she got in the car of just a friendly classmate, but quickly got out when she noticed Woojin waiting for her. She went after him, picking up the clover charm on the way, but when she crossed the street, she got hit by a van. She then fell unconscious, and when she woke up, she found herself in the tunnel, having jumped 8 years into the future. She didn't have her memory of their life together, but she got to fall in love with him all over again, and loved every minute they spent together. When she went back into the tunnel, she returned to the past and woke up at the hospital after 6 weeks spent in a coma. She was really scared about the future she saw, not wanting to die so young, but she knew if she chose another life she wouldn't be as happy. That was why she called him to meet again, and that day at the station, telling him they were meant to be. 10 years later, Woojin puts the diary in a box to gift Jiho on his birthday. Honggu is there as well with a cake and a card Suwa left him, which is the favor she had asked for all those years ago. She left a card for every birthday until the 20th, which is today. Jiho is going out on a date, but he promises Woojin he won't be back late so he can make dinner for his dad. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.